What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of MUT Tips. I'm your host, Sean Taylor from the Made Up Theater. And before we jump in, as always, make sure to like the video down below, leave a comment, and subscribe on YouTube down below to be informed of upcoming videos and live streams. Ring that bell. Now let's jump into today's topic, sharing the moment. When improv is hard, it's because we're disconnected from each other. When improv is easy, it means we are connected with each other. And I find the easiest way to get on the same page as your partner is to share in something, to share in the moment. The first way to share in the moment is to share in the silence. You've heard me talk about this before. I'm a big proponent of silent scenes. We always rush too quickly to the dialogue, and I'm always focusing as a teacher, as a coach, to instill confidence in my performers to be okay developing things in silence. It's not uncomfortable. We need to be okay and comfortable not saying anything to each other and communicating differently. A great way to practice this is get two people on stage and do something that is called silent tension. You do not give them any suggestion. They just start on stage, blank expression, hands at their side, and throughout the course of like 2-3 minutes, go more if you have time, they're going to organically figure out who they are to each other, what they're doing, and where they are. And the second the scene starts, never inject a really specific choice in. I want the choices to come organically. So like, if it starts, you shouldn't immediately be like, I made the choice to start hammering a nail. That is not what I want us to do. I want us to just, through eye contact with each other and through simple motions, like maybe facial expressions or like a nod or movement of the hands, as it develops, maybe it will feel natural to organically start hammering a nail, but you shouldn't start there. There's an element of like cause and effect. Because you did this, it causes me to do this. Because you gave me a scowl, it causes me to like look away and be kind of embarrassed. That is the goal. And then at a point, dialogue will come out. The first line will be based on that 2-3 minutes of silence. I love this activity. And again, the goal of it is to be okay not saying anything, to embrace the silence. Words are very unnecessary. Another way to share in a moment is to share in an activity. Again, this is an easy way to start a scene, and you can also do it within silence. I recommend doing that. There's an element of sometimes people feel a little bit disconnected, like the focus is kind of split because, I give them a suggestion of like a construction yard, and one person's like hammering over here, and the other person's on the opposite side of the stage, maybe like sawing a 2x4. And that's great. They started an activity, but it's a little disconnected because they're in separate areas and the actions of each character isn't really causing a reaction in the other person. Unless, like I coach people to do, like give each other eye contact. So maybe like, giving eye contact to the person who's sawing causes me to like hit stronger, And then the other person's like sawing stronger. And so we are becoming more shared and reactionary. And it starts to tell the audience a little about us, like we're like alpha males trying to outdo the other person. But I also say, hey, start an activity where you actually are actively with each other in the activity. So like washing dishes. Well, one person's gonna wash dishes and then hand it to the other person who's gonna start drying. That's a great way to just start practicing like yes-anding each other and to actually, start to discover your space together. I love just starting the scene in just silent activity. Don't worry about rushing to the dialogue. In the silence, you will figure out who you are to each other, maybe even how you feel to each other. Like if someone is washing a dish kind of angrily and hands it to you, you might be like, ooh, and just start like timidly, drying. And that's a great starting off point to a scene. You have context without the dialogue, and then it informs the dialogue. And one more way to share in the moment is to share in the sounds. Because I love just like noises and sound effects, efforts, Like if someone's angry, I like to hear them actually be kind of beastly on stage.
Look, lady, this better be good.
I love that. I think it informs sometimes more strongly than dialogue, And a great way to practice this is just get two people on the stage and one person just makes a simple choice, Ideally not super high, like a level 1 choice. Usually an emotion will be attached to it. So like, for example, that is an example of a great starting off point. And then your scene partner is gonna react to that and maybe heighten it a little bit, like, you know, and then you're just gonna kind of go back and forth, you know, and then just kind of build upon that sound, that emotion, until they get almost to like a level 10 intensity. They even maybe are starting to come together more. So it's not just sound, 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 sound. Maybe it starts to go sound, 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 and now we're united with the sound. And then if you want, you can also attach a line of dialogue that kind of names, you know, what is eliciting this sound from both of us.
But don't forget.
So in conclusion, the main takeaway from this is all about being patient, not feeling like you have to rush to naming it necessarily. I know instructors, myself included, might say, hey, name it. Don't like be coy about ideas. But this isn't so much about, you know, being coy, like through silence or shared activity or shared noise. It's about just taking our time and just like really taking in the offers that our scene partners are giving us so that we can react more honestly to each other and experience a nice organic growth, organic discovery that is, again, not focused on just the saying part, which is the most, in my opinion, the most complicated part of improv is what you're gonna say. Let's take that out of the equation and focus more so on just receiving simple choices from each other and growing it. See where it leads you. And that concludes this episode of MUT Tips, everybody. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really appreciate it. Again, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next time for another episode of MUT Tips. Bye.